Hey YouTubers, I'm back again with another dental video slash weight loss. I'm going to start with that. I guess to make a long story short, I've tried lots and lots of things to lose weight, almost like most people who try and have a hard time. And I finally realized this time was going to be very different. I decided, me and my sister together, decided that we were going to involve the Lord. So what we did starting the first day was we prayed in the morning, and pretty much for strength, wisdom, right choices with food, and hallelujah, I've lost 30 pounds as of today, and it hasn't even been 2 months. So honestly, like, I feel like I don't even feel like it's really just the actual diet I'm doing, which is awesome. I mean, watching calories is amazing, but ultimately, I've done this diet before without God, and I still went back to the way I was. So definitely a different approach. I give God all the glory for helping me change. I've heard lots of people even since then say that they've tried everything, and I just want to scream out, but you haven't tried Christ, you know. So anyways, that is pretty much my testimony on my weight loss, which is amazing, and I plan on losing way more, so I'll be making some videos probably in the next couple months just to do an update as well on that. But I also wanted to add some things on teeth. I noticed on Yahoo Answers, a lot of people have questions about extractions, so I'm going to touch on that, and also about cavities with no pain yet. We'll start with that because that'll take a little bit a shorter time. When you have a cavity that your dentist is telling you have and you've never felt it, you didn't realize it, or maybe you're somebody who's never had cavities before and you're finding out for the first time you do have one, usually people will think it's either the dentist or just the way they did it or something maybe different, but the fact of the matter is it's very rare that people go through their whole life without having one cavity. Yay God for people who do, that's awesome. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with how well they're taking care of their teeth and the things they're doing, which I had what did I say? I'm trying to think of a different word, but I had talked about that in a previous video about how important it is to take care of your teeth and how to do so, making sure you go to the dentist and get your cleanings and the proper kind of cleaning as well, and that you feel comfortable. And so to get back to the cavity part, if you have a cavity that you're not feeling yet and you don't kind of feel the importance of changing it, you might want to think twice about the fact that that cavity is obviously growing at its own pace. There's no certain length of time that it takes a cavity to get from one size to another. Everybody's mouth is different. Like I said before, it depends on how you take care of your teeth, even what you're eating or drinking at the time, even if you're flossing. I know that my doctor told me one time that if you have a cavity between your teeth and while you're waiting to get filled financially or whatever, maybe you have a fear, if you're flossing between those teeth or that tooth and the other tooth every day, you're slowing down the process. So that for me was a big eye-opener, because sometimes we do have to wait, sometimes we choose to wait. What I'm trying to say is the best thing is not to wait, because the longer you wait, that cavity is going to get bigger. I know that a lot of people have that same question with children's teeth. Oh, the tooth is going to fall out, it's not going to matter. But really it does. That's a whole nother video, and I actually will get into that one definitely on the next one, because it's very important that people understand just what can happen if those teeth are not taken care of. Anyway, so pain or not, we still have to get cavities taken care of. I still feel, no matter what anybody says, because of experience and the knowledge that I've had with my own teeth, that composite is a better choice. Yeah, they get discolored sooner. They don't look the same after maybe a few years, like I said, depending on how you take care of them. You have to change them out a lot more, but to me, that's all worth not having more teeth taken out just to get the filling to fit, which is what they have to do with the silver filling. So for me, as long as you can save any part of that tooth without having to take it out to pack some silver in there, then it's worth it. Of course, there's a lot more involved with that too, which I mentioned on my previous videos as well. So anyways, to wisdom teeth, I wanted to first touch base with people who are nervous about going in, what to expect. Okay. Obviously, everybody's different. We all have a different tolerance for pain. I can give you an idea of what happened with me. My doctor told me that my two top teeth, my two top wisdom teeth, needed to be taken out. My two bottom teeth were not in a position yet, and were not large enough, or just they weren't ready at that time. He said things could change, they might not. So it's one of those things that's why you get that huge x-ray around your whole face every 5 years, because every 5 years they need to check all those teeth, including the wisdom teeth, to see how they're doing. Obviously, unless you get pain before that in those areas. So he told me my top two teeth had to come out. He told me we could have done them both. I opted to do one at a time. Should have done them both. And I feel and say that now because it was very painful after I had it done. I had to constantly practice opening and closing my mouth because the pain was so bad. If you keep your mouth closed for a long period of time, the bones and the muscles in your mouth, they tense up. So unless you're constantly exercising those muscles, it's going to be harder later on to open, probably more painful. So I know for me, I kept opening every once in a while just to get myself constantly still used to moving, having that movement. The first 24 hours, they recommend that you don't rinse with anything, that you drool out stuff, you don't spit, you don't suck, no sucking or spitting, because you're taking a chance of having what they call dry socket, which is more painful than any other pain that you can have in your mouth. I heard it's more painful than an infection. So dry socket is one of the worst, most painful things that could happen. So they'll, every doctor should be giving instructions on what to do after you have your extractions, but this is kind of what you can expect. It is painful. Like I said, tolerance for pain is different. When he was taking my tooth out, I was wide awake. I didn't have a problem. I was kind of trying to help him out to get it out. So, and he did it surgically. He had to cut it open and stitch and all that. But that's what's cool about inpatient ones is you can just get it done and be over with it. And I didn't have a fear of dental stuff, so I know everybody's different. There is stuff that they can give you to make it easier for sure. So anyways, and then, don't ever, my doctor told me, because even working in the office, I would have him, after I had the wisdom tooth taken out, I was still like, why is this hurting so bad? So I would have him stop what he's doing or take a second and come look at my mouth because I wanted to make sure everything was healing fine, because I know a lot of us have that fear of something going wrong. And he kept telling me, you're fine, it looks good. But he said, don't hesitate to come and ask me, because, it's a comfort. We all want to know and make sure everything's fine, because that's our mouth, and it's painful. I've been there. So if you feel even the next day that something may be wrong, it shouldn't cost anything to go in and have them check and make sure everything's fine, because that is their job. They're the ones that took it out. They need to give you that comfort and that assurance that everything's doing fine. So don't feel bad about going back in the office the next day because you have a pain that you've never felt before. Honestly, when I go get the second one taken out, which I'm going to have to do soon, I have more to expect now. I already know what's coming. Doesn't mean I won't go in the next day and get it checked. I probably will. But, I think that fear of the dry socket is what a lot of people have. And so, just go with your gut. Don't really rely on a lot of other people around you if you feel something's wrong, or if you want to make sure. And you could totally, it's like false labor. You could totally be wrong. But going in there is not a big deal. And they should be making time for that because they know how painful it is. Hopefully all the dentists have gone through it themselves. But anyways, so I wanted to touch on those two things. Like I said, I'm going to bring up the thing about the child cavities next time. I know I talked a little bit about it on a previous video, but there's so much involved with it that I do want to get the facts as well, because I know that the longer that you leave a cavity on a baby tooth, while it's over a permanent tooth, it can actually cause the permanent tooth underneath it to have a cavity as well before it even comes out. So it's that kind of stuff that people don't really understand. They feel like, oh, it's going to fall out or be fine. But we'll get into that more on the next one. And I just want to thank you all for the views on my very first video. It's had a lot of success, and I pray the same for all the videos that whoever needs to see them and hear these things will do so. So you all have a great evening, day, whatever you're at, and God bless. Thank you for watching.